I'm curious for you, what's been maybe the most eye-opening sexually that you found that you're really into that you would have never found having not sort of created, Layla London?
Mhm. BDSM,
Mm,
that is really my lane. I really love it.
yeah.
I never
Tell
thought
me about it.
I never in a million years thought that that was for me because I misunderstood it. I didn't understand it. I didn't really know what it was about. And I got lucky that I came across someone that, had a lot of experience in that area and led me through it just almost perfectly in the sense that he knew how to introduce it over time. He understood not pushing my limits, and he also understood saying no to me when I was asking for something that was really probably that I wasn't ready for.
Mm,
So, yeah, it just that right there, it's not very it's fun as an adult woman to come across something that teaches you so much about yourself more than, that's this unexpected surprise and area of growth, what
yeah.
as well as being hot and sexy and just some of the best, most exciting sex, deeply connected sex of your life.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow, that's exciting. That's kind of my
Yeah.
lane too. I love it very, very much. I like, dynamics.
I mean, I'm just able to go before that, I just kind of thought, I loved sex and I was always felt I was good at it, but I never really connected with a partner the way you hear people connecting, like the way you hear about it out there, like that it's this deep, deep connection. And maybe I wasn't fully present before, but this is my way that I can be fully present with a partner and the most expressive and vulnerable and connected and all that stuff all at once. And it's just, whoo, it is
Mm,
it's hot. It's just it's hot as fuck. I
yeah.
mean, I
It really
can't.
is. It
Oh,
really well,
yeah.
I'm happy that you discovered this. Imagine a world where you never decided to dive into the deep end this way.
I know, I never knew, and I always tell people, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. One of the biggest lessons I have learned over these 6 years is never say never. I have when if you listen to like I said, when I started 6 years ago, there was a lot of nevers. There was a lot of, "These are my boundaries, these are my rules, this is not gonna happen," and then all of a sudden, you find yourself, oh my gosh, totally turned on by something that you never thought would light your fire like that. And I am so grateful to that lesson. I mean, like I said, one of my biggest takeaways is just, you just don't know. And you don't really realize by saying, I'll never, whatever it is, da, 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 how much you're really shutting yourself off to. Because many times it wasn't about the experience that I had going in straight in for a bucket list item. It may have not been that specific thing that turned me on, what I thought was gonna turn me on, but through that encounter, I uncovered something that totally blew me away. By being there and being in that circumstance, it wasn't the primary thing that really hooked me. It was this secondary thing that I was like, "Whoa, how did that happen? What was that?" Now I found another thing I need to explore more deeply and go further with.
Yeah. You just don't know what you don't know. And it's as simple as that. If we can, I think, understand that more, people would try so much more in life and get so much more out of life if you led with that curiosity, which, curious girl.
That's why I'm the curious girl. That's
Yeah.
why I call it the curious girl. I'm like, because I feel like when you stay curious and playful, then a lot you're setting yourself in the right direction. A lot can come from just that. And the thing with the, not never saying never is I know to say there's certain things that I'm pretty sure I won't be into ever.
Mhm.
But instead of saying, never, because it's just very intentional, it's, well, I just don't think right now that's really in my wheelhouse or for me, so I just sort of changed my language about certain things.
Yeah. So smart. Language is everything.
Yeah.
So how much of Layla influences your real life? Well, not that this isn't your real life, but obviously this is your real life, but you have this online part of yourself, and then obviously you're anonymous in many ways. So, is there a big separation in your life? Um, do your close friends and family know about this, or is this a very private, very segregated, um, container?
Yeah. Um, so it is a very segregated container. So none of my family know. Um, but and just a handful of friends do. Um, and it's something that I think about all the time. There's some beauty in being able to have the two worlds separate. But then there's times where you're in these relationships with different people and it is then it does become sort of like a double life, a little bit. It can feel like that at times. And the odd thing though is that I am very much 100% myself on the podcast in these relationships that I have. And I don't hold anything back on
Mhm.
that level. It's just I just struggle with the judgment and the maybe loss of some of the things that I've identified myself as or with as far as groups or communities that I'm in, and it definitely could be frowned upon.
Mhm.
And so, I've just it's like, I don't know. It's a something I struggle with all the time, because it's not like I said, there's no divide in who I am just because I gave myself a pseudonym to hide behind. Everything is 100% me. Everything I say, I mean, and I've said some stupid shit over the years, trust me, like but it's all but, you know what, that part, I don't mind any of that, like, I really do want people to know who I am, and I've vowed to put it all out there,
Mhm.
and, um, and I feel like I have done that. It's just, do I want my, I don't know, vanilla world imploding?
Yeah.
And I don't even know, and the thing is, I don't even know that it would. I don't know that it would. I have seen instances where I recently moved to Florida in the summertime, this past summer, from California. I've lived in California my whole life. There was a woman that got, her she had kids that went to a certain school and in a diocese that not my diocese, but a diocese in a neighboring city, and she had an OnlyFans account, and her husband, like, was kind of a cuckold, and so she did this hot wifing and things like that, and she had a OnlyFans account, and some of the parents found out, and they expelled her kids from school. Now, I'm not in jeopardy of that same scenario happening, but she also then wasn't welcome back at church and things like that, and, you know, and when you belong to when you go to a private organization, like a church or something like that, um,
You're
they
subject
can
to their rules.
if they don't like what you put on your social media,
Mhm.
like, they can ask you can you're it's a private organization. They can say you're not welcome for any reason, really. And so, I think that kinda stuck it really stuck with me. It made
Mhm.
an impression, and I really don't know if it's the right way to be about it, because I'm not ashamed of what I'm doing at all.
Yeah. It sounds like you're aware that there are people who can't handle it and who would handle it in a way that would be very either uncomfortable or traumatic or displeasing to the way that you love to conduct your personal life. And I mean, it is such a shame hearing that story, right? It's like, it makes me shudder to think um, how far people will go to hurt someone else when they're really just afraid of what's happening. They don't understand it,
Yeah.
right? But Layla, like what I love about your situation and hearing how you've navigated this. You said a name to hide behind, but I honestly look at it as you created a structure to actually live authentically the way that you want
Mhm.
to and to explore and dive into your sexuality and experience liberation and help other women and men, who listen to your podcast in a really big way, while still maintaining a private personal life that you want to also, which I think is incredible because so many
Yeah.
people in your maybe upbringing, in your social circles or your culture would have just said, well, I could never do this. Even if I want to explore my sexuality, I won't be able to because of what people will say or what people will think or what people will do
Right.
to me in retaliation for that. And so what you've done is create um, yeah, you've created a way because there are a million ways to do it actually, but we only
Oh,
know this
totally.
model, right, in this box, and you were
Yeah.
like, "That's not gonna be me. I'm gonna create this structure so that I can have the best of both worlds and I can have, my cake and eat